The thing about it, me and Adidas, is like, I could literally say anti-Semitic and they can't drop me. I could say anti-Semitic things and Adidas can't drop me. Now what?
Actually, no, because add Adidas to the list of brands that has cut ties with Kanye West over his anti-Semitic comments.
Yes, it's true. I think you guys have been hearing about this. Ye has now been dropped by Adidas finally, as we're seeing many of the fallout and outcry from his anti-Semitic rants that he just won't stop doing have finally come to fruition on this particular entity. I think his talent agency, Balenciaga, all these folks are dropping him, and Adidas was feeling some pressure. Let's go to details of how this whole thing happened. Because first of all, as people saw this photo from the 405 in Los Angeles, from a bunch of Nazis hanging banners over the side, bringing up Kanye's name, connecting to how Kanye was right about the Jews. This, of course, spread like wildfire all over the internet, and people began to wonder, hey, Adidas, Kanye called you out? Neo-Nazis called out to Kanye as their new mouthpiece. So what are you gonna do? He was asked about this. In fact, Nancy Levine, who posted one of those, said she about how they said all that. She then asked out to Adidas and asked their recruiting and marketing director for Kanye's Yeezy unit in LA how they're looking for another person to fill this role, which gave a little bit this indication that they're not looking to do anything about their partnership except for expand it, as they're looking for someone to grow further with this whole thing. So that's getting stacked on top of them. Not only that, Sarah Kami, who's the director of trade and marketing at Adidas, she decided to post something on her LinkedIn page, and this, I think, really forced their hand. She said, coming off the Adidas Global Week of Inclusion, I'm feeling anything but included. As a member of the Jewish community, I can no longer stay silent on behalf of the brand that employs me. Not saying anything is saying everything. I love that line. It's been 14 days since Kanye started spewing anti-Semitic rhetoric, and Adidas has remained quiet, both internally to employees as well as externally to our customers. She says, we've dropped Adidas athletes for using steroids and being difficult to work with, but are unwilling to denounce hate speech, the perpetuation of dangerous stereotypes, and blatant racism by one of our top brand partners. She went on to talk about how disgusting it was and how she doesn't feel like she's respected very much by this company, which I think is pretty true. Not only that, Schuster, the Anti-Defamation League also issued this letter talking about the whole thing. In light of Kanye's increasingly strident anti-Semitic remarks over the past few weeks, we were disturbed to learn that Adidas plans to continue to release new products from his Yeezy brand without any seeming acknowledgement of the controversy surrounding his most recent remarks. Adidas said he was under review, on how long the review is going and what it is that they're reviewing, because as was pointed out by that one employee, there's been nothing internal nor external that's been talked about. One more thing from them is this is why we are surprised and concerned that Adidas, a brand that supports inclusion and diversity, continues not only to support the Ye product line, but to release new products, even as he continues to espouse hateful anti-Semitic ideas to his 31 million Twitter followers, as those noxious ideas spread across social media and around the world, thanks to his outsized media presence and celebrity status. We'll get to what Adidas said to let go of him, David, but what are your thoughts?
Well, my initial thought is Adidas is owned by a German conglomerate. And if there's any part of the world that should be especially sensitive to anti-Semitism and hatred of Jewish people, you'd think would be Germans and German-owned companies. In this case, the fact that Adidas was the last company to drop ties with Kanye, I think is astounding. I wish they had been first. And usually I'm not so concerned about how a company ends up where it is. The actions in the end to me matter the most. But in this case, it's really unsettling that Adidas was so tone deaf that they had to essentially be dragged kicking and screaming by their own employees in order to cut ties. That just, it doesn't sit well. And I think Adidas's own brand is gonna be hurt by this.
They were still checking the winds of whether or not people really were done with Kanye. And let's keep it real. He said many things. He's released many things. He's talked bad about other groups outside of Jewish folks. And then once he hits it so many times over and over and over again, I guess Adidas was like, okay, fine. This is what they said. Adidas does not tolerate anti-Semitism and any other sort of hate speech. Ye's recent comments and actions have been unacceptable, hateful, and dangerous, and they violate the company's values of diversity and inclusion, mutual respect, and fairness. Finally, after a thorough review, the company has taken the decision to terminate the partnership with Ye immediately in production of Yeezy branded products and stop all payments to Ye and his companies. Adidas will stop the Adidas Yeezy business with immediate effect. Now, something else I heard, David, was, oh my God, once they take this off this partnership down, whatever it is, the Yeezy brand that's associated with Adidas is gonna explode even more in value because it's gonna be rare. People are gonna want this stuff. I don't care. So am I supposed to now not want this guy to continue to be platformed to say the disgusting things that he's saying over and over and over again because the few things that they did release might be worth a lot more money? Happy for you. Go ahead on. Maybe you can take your last couple dollars that you can make off of your name and do something else with it. I don't know. But the one thing I do want to ask, and maybe you have some insight on this, David, or maybe you don't, because who knows? Black folks had Kanye's back all the time. They had his back when he hit controversy. They had his back when people were saying other things about him. But then once he crosses over and decides to start dogging out the same folks who always had his back, and he's now hanging out with Candace Owens and talking about Parler and everything like that. I wonder how, in those Nazis up on the freeway overpass, are they gonna have his back too? He's gonna find out really fast how much they care about him.
Yeah, I mean, they'll drop him faster than a bad habit. And look, the statement from Adidas in the end, sure, that was admirable. That was the right thing. I just wish it was 2 weeks ago. And the fact of the matter is, why couldn't, look, this isn't a black-white thing. This is about, this is about whether you're anti-Semitic or not. I mean, if it had been a white, suppose Eminem, a white rapper, somebody had, said the same stuff, I would hope that the reaction would be just as quick and that people who were associated with that person would drop them just as quickly. I feel like in this particular case, maybe Adidas was looking at, well, it's got a certain sort of brand vibe that it's trying to promote around the world, a certain sort of coolness, and they just drag their feet. And I don't understand when companies can't see right off the bat. They can't just say, look at a thorough review. All he had to do was spend 20 seconds looking at his statements, and the CEO, the leadership of Adidas should have said, he's gone, get rid of him. It's not.
Like, what are they losing? Yeah, and by the way, so we'll see if there's some kind of I don't want to say apology tour, but just like like the NFL did. Suddenly the back of the helmet say end racism, and then the end zones say equality or whatever people want to put on it, because of what was found out and because of how bad the negative press was on their decisions as far as diversity, equity, and not being a hateful bigot, those types of things. After the whole thing went down with Kaepernick and they looked so bad, suddenly there's end racism on every end zone. I assume Adidas is gonna do something along those same lines to hope that people forget about what it is that's happened for the past 2 weeks, over 2 weeks now. We'll see.